Hi, I'm Aimee. We're going to do another meditation, and it's bedtime. So this is your bedtime story of mind. Let's begin. Okay, so right away, come into a comfortable position. You decide. You decide. Just kind of tune in if you want to be sitting up, if you want to be lying down, especially if you're already in bed, or if you're on the floor. If you're sitting up, put some pillows under your bum. It takes the strain out of your low back. It takes pressure and compression out of your back. If you're lying down, you could always put a pillow under the backs of your knees and thighs. Get yourself in a space where you can say, all right, let's do this. And I will do the same. Now, I have something to admit to you. I was really excited about actually watching a movie and not instructing a meditation. I had actually just got ready to sit down and watch 50 Shades Darker. And the first one was okay. I thought I'd give it a shot to the second one. But anyways, the movie stopped right as it was starting. And I thought about it in my mind, I should teach a meditation before bed because I did it last night and people liked it. And I liked it. In fact, I crashed out 20 minutes into my own voice in my meditation after I recorded it. And so there was some resistance in me to get back on and load up and set up my headset and the whole thing. And here I am anyway, because it's about commitment. And I recognize I don't have to teach the meditation. I don't have to upload anything. But the commitment to meditation is what starts to make it easier. So you doing it once and then doing it again and then doing it again and doing it again. And then you start to actually crave it instead of fight it. So let's just sit with the intention of meditating for no other reason than just to make a commitment to doing it so that it can do its work on you, not just the work you put in. The bigger part is so that it can do its work on you. Decide how you want to set up, and let's begin. Really easy. Take in a breath into your lungs and then take your arms straight up in the air. And then, so if you're lying on your back, just reach. And if you're lying on your back, I want you to stretch out your legs away from your hips, away from your heart. A little bit of space is nice. And then exhale, take your arms down. And bring your 10 fingertips together in front of you. You can rest them on your lower belly. If you're sitting up, rest them on your thighs. Open your mouth really wide. Empty the breath out. And do this, okay? Put your tongue behind your 2 front teeth. Take in breath. And at the top of that breath, let there be a tiny pause. And then I want you to open your mouth wide and just let itself out. Releasing the exhalations starts to release tension. Breath in. At the top of the breath, pause. Don't overfill the breath though, just pause. And when it feels like, okay, I'm ready to let go of it, just open your mouth, let it come through you. Releasing another exhalation settles and quiets our mind and starts to just release some of the tension. All right. Feel all 10 of your fingertips touching. And you can use your physical eyes. You can use your physical eyes to see all 10 of your fingers. Now here's something I want you to really understand. It's really simple. We have a whole bunch of stuff in our head all the time, like all of us, because we're all managing life and life's always coming at us and people always have something to say and it kind of, you know, uh, some of the things people say called our belief systems, they've been programming us for a very long time, since our youth. So there's a lot in mind for every one of us. You're totally normal. And yet your 10 fingertips are out of that headspace. And every time you meditate, you start to come out of your headspace to all 10 fingers touching. But if there's a lot in mind, then what happens is really simple. You'll be present, and then you won't. You'll be connecting to the physical feeling of fingertips touching, and then your mind will take you someplace else. So make a commitment to just coming out of your thinking mind and drop down into 10 fingertips touching. There's an energy in every fingertip that's alive. No matter how tired we are, no matter how dull the mind is, no matter how toxic the body is from processed food or chemicals or, sugar, nicotine, whatever, and especially a lack of water, we can feel like that aliveness isn't there. The vitality is hijacked. Because that's what that stuff does. It hijacks our vitality, and it robs us of our life force. And the less oxygen we take into the lungs and to the brain, the foggy we are in our head. Regardless of that story, though, the cool thing is there's vitality underneath it. Feel all 10 of your fingertips. And feel the sensation of coming alive. And if you physically feel the 10 fingertips physically touching and you feel that connection, when you step out of your mind, you step out of yourself in that way, you come more towards your body, it's grounding. It relieves the mind to be in the now. Like, that's a funny thing. Like, I had a lot of experiences that just took me really out of body and kind of had me retreat in my head. And it took a lot for me to feel brave to want to come out. And it took certain people to get me to feel safe, to be in my body and be in the room. You know what I mean? Like, I was always in the room, but I wasn't, because I was always in my mind, in my head. Or I was often in my head, especially if I felt nervous. Especially if I felt like somebody was going to yell and scream or be violent. And, the things I had experienced early on that took me out of body in the first place. And I thought that it would be the most terrifying thing to come back into body. but it's actually relieving. It's like if you take a car and there's like nobody home, nobody, like when we're in our head, it's like nobody's home, nobody's behind the wheel. Feel all 10 of your fingertips touching. And if nobody's behind the wheel in the front seat, it's scary, right? And we think it's scary to get behind the wheel. But for a lot of us, our life is asking us to get back behind the wheel. So keep focusing on 10 fingers touching, because what you're doing is you're getting a connection to your body again, and it's going to get you back behind the wheel with a sense of empowerment. Get back behind your own wheel of being grounded, being in the body. Mind and body sync up by a relaxed breath. Take in a breath. With your exhale, streamline it to your focus on the thumb tips touching. If you really want to keep that connection in the thumb tip strong, it's already there. It's just that your mind has to presence itself to it. You could always take the rest of the fingertips apart and just have the thumb tips touching. If you wanted to, you could close your eyes, but you do not have to. But you could. Like, know when to say no, but also leave room for a yes. Like, no is so easy. It's such a contracted energy, too. Leave room for something other than no. Especially if you have an autonomic habit of an autopilot way of negative thinking. It's like you're just basically just beaming out an energetic no. What if you were to just move out of that space and get back behind the wheel of a yes? Your thumb tips are still touching. Breath in. A sigh. And streamline your sigh straight to your first fingers touching. You can keep your thumbs together and move them out of the way so you can see your first fingers. Or you can just keep all the fingertips apart and just channel all the concentration into melding the two first fingers into each other. They're already doing it. You're just wiping away the films of your mind that have you not present to that. So see your first fingers touching. And as you get so intrigued and invested in the feel of the first fingers, somewhere along the way your mind will kind of start cleaning house, mopping things up for you. As your breath settles more into your body, you start moving into a space that's also organically you. Peace, calm, relaxed. Those are energies that hold such power because we can be so much more available, mind and body, in every moment. If we come from a place of groundedness in the moment, in the now, we can take action, but from a place of our own deeper wisdom. Your first fingers are still touching. if we're grounded in a relaxed way, and like we're rooted in a relaxation and an ease, and we deepen that every time we practice meditation, we deepen an opportunity to bring more ease and groundedness into our thoughts, into the way we think. And as our nervous system becomes more settled, we become more centered. And from that space, we can be in action without a knee-jerk reaction, like a knee-jerk reactive response, which is really just some fight or flight energy. You know, and we get that way because we get triggered. Okay, middle fingers touch. Beam all your concentration down into the middle fingers touching. And they will speak back to you through the feel. That's what the language of the body is, you know, feeling. And it's very sensual. It's a sensual energy. Feeling is a sensual energy. Emotional, our emotion, it's fluid, it's watery energy. Middle fingers are touching. You decide if you want if the thumbs and the first fingers still remain touching, or if you took them apart, or if you want to try bringing them back together. As you get a little more focused into mid fingers touching, and you can hold your concentration with it just a little bit more and a little bit more, and that's what happens every time you meditate. You show up to meditate, and it starts to kind of bring healing and restoration to the mind, being able to be in the moment. Keep letting your exhales come all the way through, long and slow. You slow down the breathing, you'll slow down racing thoughts. Third fingers are touching. The third fingers harness your mental focus. And if you wander off with a thought that's not about your third fingers and how the feel of them, totally normal. Your mind is used to wandering off. That's all that says. See, meditation is just a mirror. And we go, hey, let's look inside. Let's look inside. What's going on here? Let's tune in. Let's check in. But not in a judgmental way, not in a mean girl or bullying way. Just more an energy of curiosity. Your third fingers are still touching. As you drop down to physically feel your third fingers, some of the surfacey, shallow ways that we all think start to peel away. You're peeling away the film strip and the storyline, internal dialogue, self-talk. As you relax the nervous system, not only are you more grounded, but you're likely to be more self-encouraging, self-believing. And if you haven't lived that way for a while, it's absolutely a great opportunity to say, yes, I might try on something other than the way I've always lived or the way I've always thought. Third fingers are touching. And this just gives you, a new roadway. What's to lose, So get curious. With love for yourself, get curious. And with empathy, because your mind is, it's suffering. Our minds are suffering. If we have stressful thoughts, if we're worried all the time, if we're running around all anxious and, we're afraid to be ourselves, and, then we have to wear a mask. And behind that mask is enormous suffering. We wear a mask when we feel we can't just relax and be. So bring love to your thinking mind when you decide to walk in the door and see what's going on. And decide to check it out. Check in. Bring love. If you're suffering, then you're hurting. If you're frightened or you're angry or you're kind of overwhelmed and therefore you shut down, you're hurting. And you want to bring love to your hurts. That's how they heal. Pinky fingers are touching. See, I just feel like I'll go towards anything or anyone if I feel safe. And I'm a safety girl, like Julia Roberts said in Pretty Woman. I'm a safety girl. I'm vigilant about that. Because for a long time I didn't feel safe, and that began at a young age. And so I recognized, I instantly, if I feel safe, like I'll go towards. If I'm not under a feel of threat or attack or extreme judgment and criticism and shaming, I'll go towards. Happily, like willingly. I'll go towards. So with love, can you go towards yourself? Can you go towards your thinking mind? Can you lay down the sword? Can you put down the gun? We're too smart to keep suffering. And I feel like the more humanity is acting out, the more it makes me go within. But not to hide, but because over a long period of time I learned how to create a feeling of inner solitude and a feel of peace and safety inside myself through these practices. I never had it before, I can assure you. And life didn't feel safe on the outside either, so I was constantly triggered and challenged and up against a wall, so to speak. Bring it all into the pinky fingers. And then one day I realized that all the anger, all the judgment, all the criticism, all of that, that became me. That became like my internal dialogue on the inside. I'll joke around, but I'm serious. I call it the inner Birdman. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look up that movie with Michael Keaton. He does a phenomenal job. But it's all about that self-judge, inner critic, the one who's the voice inside us that's like rooting for us to fail. And so I had to look at my inner bird girl. I had to look at my inner Judge Judy. And Everything changed for me the day I stopped looking at myself with an inward harsh eye. But I had been conditioned to look at myself like that. And a lot of times I'd been told to look at myself like that or feel that way about myself. So I thought that, I felt that, and so I took all that programming and then I made it my own. Pinky fingers are touching. Feel them just melding together. It's safe to feel. It's safe to be with yourself in this meditation. And you're not alone. And man, when we just bring love and humility and empathy and compassion, and we bring that even to the mind, and we stop beating ourselves up, we stop making ourselves wrong. If you wander off in your mind because you were with me thinking on the pinky fingers and then you had a thought that kind of knee-jerked you right out of what we're doing here and took you someplace else in mind, and if you bring compassion to that rather than shame and an angry voice saying, I fucked up again, then you'll be able to move right back into, okay, yeah, I was on my pinky fingers. I just begin again. This is what we're all doing. We're in a space where we knew, and then we got caught up in the stories, and we got caught up in survival, and then we forgot. We had experience where we didn't feel safe in our body, and we checked out. We had feelings that showed up in our body, especially if you're empathic. You have big feelings, and it can feel like your feelings are running you, and we'll look for an escape. But you don't have to escape from New York anymore. And we can start moving together to do practices that open us up to an empire state of mind. Keep it simple. Bring softness. Bring gentleness. And if that's not your norm, then you were wired and raised and conditioned and in environments that were probably a little harsher. And so it might feel like you're bad or wrong or a wuss. If you bring gentleness, if you bring softening, but what if you say yes to that, and what if you gain? What if you bring an area of your life you held yourself up and therefore held yourself back, and you decided to try on and get curious about the energy of self-forgiveness, self-acceptance, self-awareness without condemning and guilting and shaming? What if you said yes to that? What if instead of saying all the time, you're so busy, you're so busy, you're so busy, what if you tried on, I'm going to counter that busyness, rushed, hurried feeling with a day off? What if you tried on the opposite of whatever the internal dialogue has been? Notice how we talk to ourselves so harshly. Like we'll speedball ourselves with self-criticism. But we wouldn't talk that way to our child or to our friend. Move towards yourself with just a little bit of love. And I'll feel that I know the value of what I teach and what I'm a voice to and what I offer to you. Bring love back in. Bring love back in. Surrender some of your hardness and try on softness with yourself. And have a great sleep. Namaste.